Greetings everyone, welcome back to my sketchbook. In the last video, I made a dust jacket cover protector for the Philosopher's Stone, which is one of 7 books in the Harry Potter series. So yes, we have a few copies of that. Of course, we have a few copies of this as well, including some like British and Canadian first editions and stuff like that too, which is kind of cool. A hardcover book, just like the rest of them. The dust jacket and the picture on the inside of the case itself. Let me just sort of peel that away. It's the same thing on the inside of the case, but so what we're going to do is we're going to create a cover that protects this dust jacket, and that's what we have going on here. So as part of this, I'm going to open up this inkwell before I get too far along. I was thinking, am I going to cover each one, or put on the cover, I should say, Harry Potter on each one of those? And I just might. And here's another picture of Harry Potter, and look at the location of the scar. I don't know what's going on. That's kind of interesting, though. All right, well, with this one, I'm going to kind of feature this, which is Lord Voldemort's diary for when he attended, or journal, anyway, or when he attended Hogwarts. We'll see how that might relate to something like this, which is Moaning Myrtle, who's actually holding on to a copy of Tom Riddle's journal as well. It comes with that figure. So I don't know, we'll see what happens here. I may or may not have Harry on the cover here somewhere, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off with writing the title of the book. So let's see if I can kind of keep this in focus a little bit and go from there. So let's start off with just writing the title very simply, or ornately. How about that? Remember, this isn't to be too complicated. This is just something that protects the actual cover of the book, or if you want to protect the dust jacket of the book. So it's okay if it looks a little rough, but it's just an idea type thing, you know what I mean? So I don't need to go that much further than that. Here's the idea that I have floating in sort of around in my head, is I'm going to see if I can draw a picture of a kind of disheveled looking Ginny Weasley. Maybe a little stressed and a little bit malevolent. How about that? Now, we're not going to notice her wonderful red hair. But we're going to make her kind of quickly gothy. So I want you to imagine that this is early 90s. And here in her hand, we're just going to loop in some fingers. That she's holding on to a diary that once belonged to Tom Riddle. Down here, although we're not really going to see it as wonderfully, we're going to say that that's what's written there, is belongs to, just right here, belongs to Tom Riddle. We'll have the crest of Hogwarts here. This would be kind of the robe. We'll have a little clenched fist down here. So it's an interesting thought, actually, when it comes to the influence of Horcruxes, that they might contain part of someone's soul, and that they might be able to influence the people around them, or around those Horcruxes. So when you think about that, and you think about Harry living with the Dursleys, it makes you wonder if he was in some way kind of a bad influence on them, and helped to make them kind of like strangely miserable. I think what I'd like to do, without getting too complicated, and I'm not really going to use, well, maybe I will. So, I don't know. I've been thinking about this little character, because she doesn't appear on covers. When we're introduced to Moaning, Myrtle, she's kind of almost like a, well, a nuisance character in some way. I'm giving her glasses that look very similar to Harry's, but it will not be, of course, Harry Potter. But we learn different things about Moaning Myrtle. But something that's interesting, I think is interesting, and many of you know this, The actress who plays Moaning Myrtle, phenomenal actress. I believe her name is Shirley Henderson. I know that because I took a moment to look her up a little bit ago. She was to be about 14, the character, and she was around 36 or 37 when she actually played the character, which I think is kind of interesting. Just had an awesome look to her. So we have here in the background kind of a spectre-y looking thing floating around. Now let's see. Just trying to think if I do want, well, I mean, it's the main character. Let's go down here a little bit then. And I'm going to have just a doodle of sorts. Kind of round out some of this after. Oh, we don't need to make the ears so dramatic. Oh, those eyes went a little squirrely. You know, I don't know if Harry, and maybe someone can clue me into this, if he's nearsighted or farsighted. I don't think I've ever actually kind of sought out that information. I'm sure somebody knows. Off the top of my head, I don't know. for the most part, I'd like to see this hidden, the scar, because I don't think he would have really spent that much time showing it off. Some types of fame are not really worth so much hassle. Let's see if we can back this out just a little bit. Come on now. Let's go right to there, maybe. Again, just a doodle. Just sort of a quick sketch. And like I said, I'll try to keep these between 20 or 25 minutes so that they're not just dragging out. Reduce that just a little bit there. Maybe reduce that a little bit too. We don't want to have them with old dude ears. He's fairly young at this point anyway. So I had an idea in my head what I wanted for this one. Not perfectly, but this is the concept anyway that I want to go with. All right. I think that's the main thing that I'm going with. Let's fill that in just a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure, like, you know, as far as the location of the scar, why in this one, for example, it seems to be over his left eye, and the other one, the first book, which of course I have sitting off to one side here, why it's more center. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, I think that is kind of it. I am going to just put a little bit of water on this, I think, just to see what kind of little bit of a mess I can make. And Myrtle in the background here. Then I'm going to use the water to fill in the robe of Ginny. I'll do the same to Harry's robe in a moment. If you had a chance to go to Hogwarts, what house do you think that you would be in? Now, of course, there's different ways to do the selection. You can kind of influence it, I guess, as well, just based on some of the choices that you'd make. Oh, I'm just going to scribble in a little bit more ink into this robe so that when I do use some brush and water on it, it'll be a little bit darker. And then we'll say that this is done. Okay. Last thing, I'll just sharpen up the lines on this journal, and then that will be it. All right then, folks. I think that's it for the doodle. That would be Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. That would be sort of the dust jacket cover concept. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out for a minute or so. Let me see if I can kind of give a fuller view of that. And yeah, I hope you have a great day. Ciao for now.